All right, raise your hand if you miss your daily dose of Jon Stewart. I definitely do. The good news is he may not have a show, but he is still a part of the conversation. His second feature as a director is coming out. It's called Irresistible, and I had a chance to Zoom with one of my favorites.
I love your house, Tara.
Jon, you are welcome anytime because this is the second time I've interviewed you virtually, never in person.
Is that true? Oh, we did it on a satellite before.
The satellite.
Yeah, you weren't in your house though. You were in like a studio.
Yeah, I was in a studio. By the way, I had nothing to do with this house. I'm just along for the ride. My husband kind of handled all this. I'll be honest.
Right.
I actually watched this movie with my husband. We so enjoyed this movie.
Oh,
my
good.
first question, what would we have to do to convince you to run for office?
You know, I accept the nomination, Tara. Thank you so much. I will be the,
Yeah, is there anything, because in this film you got to convince, Steve Carell's got to convince Chris Cooper's character to run for mayor. Anything anyone could do.
That is a good point. You'd have to get me to leave my attic first, which is probably the more difficult task than running.
If you can't live your principles in the bad times, I guess they aren't principles, they're just hobbies.
I'll be honest, I'd vote for Chris Cooper in a heartbeat. He could announce his candidacy tomorrow and I'd vote for that guy.
He's such a, and you know what? And such a salt of the earth dude, like just in general, had such a lovely time with him. I didn't know him too well when we got started, but you know, he's really the linchpin of believability for the movie, because to a large extent, you have to believe you're watching a different movie than you're actually watching for this to kind of work, for the monkey trick to work. So, you know, his ability to ground it and for us to believe that this thing starts to roll is really the key to making this kind of successful.
Jack could do the real deal. He's a cross between MacArthur and elk jerky.
I love the comparisons. You know, at one point it's if John Wayne and a tractor had a baby. It's MacArthur and elk jerky. It's always he's a cross between. What would your wife say if she were to describe you in that way? Jon Stewart's a cross between what and what?
I would say an avocado and a sink clog.
Okay, wait a minute. Hard on the outside, soft on the inside, the avocado, healthy?
No, ages poorly when exposed to oxygen.
Okay. All right, and a sink clog.
Sheds a good amount of hair and dead skin.
You know what, that's for not having any time to prepare, that's a pretty brilliant, fantastic answer. You know, I love the use of lawn signs in this. If you were to stick a lawn sign in your yard right now expressing how you currently feel, what would it say?
Closed for the winter.
And it's only June.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be a blessing and a curse being you, though, because, you know, I was just reading, I know you did an interview, a great interview with the New Yorker, but then all of a sudden the headlines are basically everything you think about current political situations and not about your film, which is so good. Is it a blessing and a curse being you? Because people just want to ask you what you think about what's happening.
I mean, I'm a relatively reclusive individual, so I mean, it's a blessing and a curse being me just because I have to live in my head. But
right.
But you know, the thing about being you is you never know really how you're perceived outside of you. Like you're just you. So, right. I mean, I look at everything like I'm so fortunate in my life to just be able to do what I do and make more than I'm worth doing it. So I don't ever look at it like, you know, there's no curse involved. Like I was a bartender in a bar that sat under a liquor store off of Route 1 in Trenton, New Jersey. And I had a desire to go do stand-up comedy. And so it's more that I can't believe that this worked, you know, just in general. It's hard to imagine.
Well, I can, and you deserve every bit of success that you've achieved. And as somebody who actually lived in Colts Neck for a couple years, I think New Jersey's one of the most underrated states, I think, New Jersey.
Jersey's the best, man. It's the absolute best.
Well, when we meet in person and you come to the house, the one thing I remember from 4th grade New Jersey history is the 21 counties north to south. I can spout them off like this. It's my little party trick.
Let me
But
tell
we'll
you
do it in
something.
person.
I've lived here. I grew up here, moved to Manhattan, came back over the last 6 years. I can name maybe 3 of them.
Okay.
So kudos to you.
Yeah, I guess kudos to me. I can't remember speaking at my friend's wedding a few years ago, but I do remember the 21 counties of New Jersey, north to south. You know what? This is for you, Jon Stewart. Sussex, Warren, Passaic, Bergen, Essex, Union, Hudson, Morris, Hunterdon, Somerset, Mercer, Middlesex, Monmouth, Burlington, Ocean, Camden, Gloucester, Salem, Atlantic, Cumberland, Cape May. You're welcome.